It smells like money. Yes, I smell it.
Cha-ching!
Yes, this single black cup of coffee is going to talk about how one property more than doubled my income from $4,000 to $10,000 a month in 3 months. You are still sniffing. I will also be including a tour of my property because you know I love a good tour. I love a good tour. I'll be right back after this long intro. Now that we got rid of that chick, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Let's first address why you should even care about what I'm saying in this video. Families should have at least 6 things if they want to generate generational wealth. 1, stocks. Duh, right? We have Robinhood, Webull. These are so many platforms that makes buying stocks kind of feel like it's free. 2, a diverse investment account. That means having cryptocurrencies, bonds, mutual funds, and many things out there. 3, a trust that is activated while you're alive or even after you die. 4, a will, which is activated after you die. 5, a freaking life insurance. And lastly, properties, specifically rental property. Real estate is a great way to hedge against inflation, diversify your account, and pass it along from generation after generation. Let's say I put the $510,000 I received to buy my first property into a savings account. Let's say a savings account with the highest yield of 0.70% on the market. That only gives me $514,000 at the end of the year. When I put that $510,000 into my first property and it appraised for $510,000, a month later it was worth $520,000. That says a lot. So let's get down to it. There are 5 steps that will be discussed in this video. The first 3 is about educating yourself. The last 2 are very important because they help you decide on whether you can buy a property at this very moment. Step 1, know your end goal before you're into the market. I knew that as a full-time mom, a full-time consultant, and a full-time MBA student that I would not have time to manage a 2 to 4 story building. Also, I probably couldn't even manage a single family home, to be honest. So I did settle on a condo, 2 bedroom, 2 bath, which allows me to appreciate in my home value, get involved in the market, and then sell after a year or so. This step is really about being realistic about your goals because there are a lot of properties out there. Even though a lot of people say that there's high demand and low supply, there are still a lot of properties out there that you can choose from to know your market. This is about going into whether you want to do short-term or long-term rentals. I settled on short-term rentals because of the high profit margins. Even though I understood the risks, I knew that I can hedge against those risks by using insurance, taking legal procedures to protect my property and my business. It's all about going into the Airbnb app and filtering all the different properties and focus on the ones that are meeting my desired goal, which is a 2 bedroom, 2 bath condo or a single family home. I stayed away from the filters that had the hotels or the apartments and certain amenities that I knew that I would not have, like a pool. So I landed on the lowest nightly price of $140. So this is very important because this is going to help you with the next steps moving forward. I increased my nightly price from $140 to $200 because the homes that were being priced at a nightly rate of $140 actually had an occupancy rate of 50%, meaning that for a monthly range, they were perhaps only booked 15 days out of the month. But I know realistically my property will be booked for about 25 days out of the month because those were outliers. So, but I wanted to remain conservative, but not too conservative. So $200 was perfect. I multiplied $200 nightly rate to the 25 days out of the month that I expect to be booked and got a monthly profit of about $5,000. Just to be cautious. $5,000 is meant for me to be conservative. I want to be conservative with my numbers because I don't want to rely on home appreciation when it comes to the market. That is a long waiting game and I do not want to play with that. So I want to make sure I am getting my profit and hitting those numbers. So 3, know your price. This is all about looking through Redfin, Zillow, etc. But you want to make sure that you are looking at homes that have been sold in the past 3 months. Because there are homes on the market that have been there for years or being relisted and unlisted for many days and many years, okay? Because those prices are absurd, most likely. Those homes are overpriced or overvalued. So we want to stay away from those homes because there might not be an opportunity to make profit. So when I go to my trusted friend, not Zillow, it's Redfin, I filtered down onto the specific property that I am interested in. That is a condo, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, perhaps a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, etc. Right? And then once I filter down on that, I decide on what is a reasonable lowest price. And downtown Long Beach goes for $350,000, and the highest price is about in the millions. So I know I'm not going to buy $1 million condo, so I lower my range to $800,000. I just write this down for reference. So this step really helps me paint out a picture of how much I could potentially pay for a property. 4, know your worth. This is a really, really important step because this determines how much house you can actually afford at this very moment.
Welcome to the promised land.
So I have my handy dandy laptop here because I want to make sure I'm giving you the right information. This is the calculations for determining how much home you can afford. Take your monthly income after income taxes, subtract that by your minimum debt payment a month, as well as your rental payments, and then multiply that by 177. Boom. Now you know how much you can afford. Well, at least a rough estimate of how much you can afford. So a year ago when I bought my property, this was my calculations. I had a $4,000 monthly income. I subtract that by $35 of my minimum credit card payment. I subtract that by $429 in my car note, as well as subtract that by $200 in my student loans, and multiply that by 177. I qualified at the time for a $590,000 loan, and I actually only needed $510,000 loan. But that was a great estimate, and that gave me an opportunity to determine how much down payment I needed, if I need to increase my credit score. That $590,000 meant that I can afford a home in that middle range that we specified in step number 3. Of $350,000 to $800,000. Okay, now we are finally at the end. Lastly, let's go to Google's mortgage loan monthly payment calculator. That is a very long way to say mortgage calculator. When I go in, I'm gonna type in that really great estimate that we received in step number 4 of $590,000. Along with the down payment, the location, credit score does matter, but it does not make a difference to this calculator. But when you do go and purchase a home, you want to make sure you have a credit score of 700 or more. So I put in a down payment of 15% along with an HOA of $200 a month. I am getting a monthly payment of $3,485. I subtract that by the $5,000 that I calculated in the second step in regards to knowing your market. So that $5,000 is subtracted by this mortgage monthly payment, and I get $1,515 as my profit.
Here comes the money.
Here we go.
So these numbers are very much conservative, right? And this is really good because when you do go and look for a home, you might find out you actually have to pay for more things than you thought, like insurance, right? Or like the freaking roof is leaking. There's so many things out there that you're gonna end up having to pay as a homeowner. But don't let that deter you. We are going into property ownership not to simply be owners. We want to be investors, business people, and money makers. So this stuff is really important. In my next video, I want to discuss how to improve your odds of owning way more than that rough estimate that mortgage lenders tend to cough up when they're preparing our pre-approval for you.
I'm doing it! I'm doing it! Yeah! Yeah!
This was a great opportunity for me to first start out talking about my real estate journey, and this is only the beginning. I want to take you along with me while I sell my condo, buy a bigger property, just expand into the real estate industry. And I'm just so grateful that I have you all to encouraging me and supporting me. So thank you.
Fresh it.